So talk to me a little bit about hiring. You've got a big team now spread all across the world. How do you build a world-class team? What do you look for? How do you build culture? What's important to you when it comes to recruiting?
Yeah, great question. So I think one of the mistakes I made at Real Sport was not relinquishing in tasks completely. I still wanted to understand what's going on in every part of the business.
Me too.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Founders hate delegating a lot of the time. They're control freaks, but you have to give it away.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something I've seen with Connected, is just by actually fully trusting my people. And of course, you've got to then hire great people to make it work, but fully trusting people to go and take those tasks off your hands has allowed us to build a much, much bigger business at a much quicker rate than we did with Real Sport. In terms of hiring, I think from a culture perspective, culture at the early stage is essentially what are your values as an individual, right? Because you're hiring against your own values. I would say that for the first 20, 30 hires, certainly the first 20 hires, founder is going to be really, really involved in that hiring process to make sure that culture remains and those values remain consistent. But then it is a challenge. It is a challenge. I think culture then becomes about a lived history rather than a set of values in the world. Don't get me wrong, we do have the set of values in the world as well.
Everyone does.
Yeah, of course. But being able to point to certain moments where maybe you've been able to support an employee through a really difficult moment, or you've let someone go for the right reasons. These are all the things that build up culture in that way. I think one of the realities of building a startup is you have 3 levels of hiring, or 3 phases of hiring. Initially, you're generalists, people who are just going to put up the bootstraps, get everything done. Moving into specialists, which I think is pretty well known in the startup world. But I think not enough people talk about then the 3rd stage, which is experience. At specialist level, you've got people who are amazing executioners who know exactly what they're doing. They're incredibly talented. But sometimes you then need to bring in that next level, which is, actually, people who have done it on a global scale, people who have managed things at, 50 million ARR rather than 10, that sort of thinking.
Yeah, it's a very, very different type of individual, right?